Brilliant, fantastic. Then I would love to welcome everybody, attendees, panelists, Pavan, Ascend Now employees, everyone who's here at this particular point in time. Thank you for joining us. I know this is a very special occasion for our participants. They really want to win this. I've seen their decks and they're pretty impressive at this point in time. I for sure could not have created it myself, so I'm very impressed. Hello to everyone who doesn't know me. I'm Ethan Barnes. I work here at Ascend Now, part of the management team. I'm going to be a host for this morning, evening, late night. Honestly, we're all around the globe. But wherever you're joining us from, we're absolutely stoked to have you joining us as these young entrepreneurs lay it all on the table. So welcome to Ascend Now's One Earth Bullpen 2022. Now, for our welcome speech, I would love to introduce my colleague and good friend, Pavan Sampath, to start this event off.
Thank you, Ethan. Judges, thank you all for taking time to be a part of this experience. We have been working with kids on entrepreneurship for the past 2.5 years, and we've done this bullpen about maybe 10, 15 times, but each time we get new innovative ideas that can change the world. This is one of the first bullpens that we're conducting where we've actually put a theme around it, around sustainability and around ideas for change that make the world a better place. We want to help kids think in this manner because tomorrow they're going to be CEOs, they're going to run massive companies, and we want them to incorporate ESG not just as a checklist, but as an integral part of whatever it is that they're doing. So all of these ideas that we hear today, they may be ideas that when we implement in the future might actually change the world that we live in for the better. I've seen these students working extremely hard. Their educators are just as much a part of the process as they are. I can see the educators being extremely nervous for the kids when they come up to speak. So I think it's a wonderful bond and it's a wonderful experience. And I'm really excited to see them all laid out on the floor today. And yeah, good luck to all the participants. And I'm excited to see some pitches. Thank you, everyone.
Fantastic. Thank you, Pavan, for welcoming us here today. I really appreciate that. Before we go any further and I tell you a bit about the format of this, I'd love to introduce our panel for today. We have some spectacular names here, and we're grateful to all of you for joining us. So really thank you for your time and for your insights today as well. So first off, I'd love to introduce Miss Sophia Leanto. I apologize if I butcher people's names. I'm going to try my best here. But Miss Sophia attended Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, where she got her degree in international political economy and an honor certificate in international business diplomacy. She began her career as a strategy and investment analyst for one of Indonesia's tech unicorns before transitioning into a product manager role in fintech. With her leadership experience and knack for product development, Sophia has recently turned her focus to building elegant tech solutions for Southeast Asia's dynamic maritime industry. Her team is currently piloting digital transformation initiatives at Wintermar Offshore Marine, a ship management and marine services company listed on the Indonesian Stock Exchange. So welcome, Sophia. Thank you for joining us today. Second, Mr. Marcelo Fischer. Now, Marcelo has worked at Dow Chemical for 30 years with a journey that includes different geographies, businesses, functions. He started his activities in Argentina in the technical service team, ending his career in the polyurethanes business. During his tenure, he worked in the USA, Brazil, Argentina, and in technical and commercial functions, including the polyurethanes, polyethylenes, latex, and specialty chemicals businesses. Based in Brazil since 2001, he finished his career as Latin America polyurethane marketing director with a special focus in energy efficiency and carbon emissions. He has finished the program's administrative boards and family companies boards at IBGC, Instituto Brasileiro de Governança Cooperativa, and he brings a solid and historical experience from non-profit volunteer activities, including maths and English lessons for low-income communities. He's a specialist in pretty much anything you can imagine and is doing extremely well at this point in time. So we're absolutely stoked to have him on with us at the same time. So thank you for joining us, Marcelo. Third, we have Miss Michelle Lai. Michelle is joining us from Hong Kong, where she's currently in quarantine, but she's a seasoned marketing strategist and had a career with multinationals both in Australia and Hong Kong. As a mother of two and passionate in children and youth development, she founded Kids for Kids, in Hong Kong based on a firm belief that you're never too young to change the world. A message that you entrepreneurs should really take in mind at this point in time. It'd be fantastic. We truly believe in you. Anyway, the Kids for Kids network has sparked change and continued to grow over the last 10 years, with thousands of students being trained to be community leaders, responsible citizens, as well as being nurtured as young entrepreneurs, realizing their passion and purpose and finding their own ways to give back to the society. In recognition for her charitable work in the community, Michelle has been awarded in 2011 Women Who Inspire at the Women Extraordinaire Forum organized by Wealth Asia, the list's Women of Hope in 2014 for Amazing Advocate Award, and in 2015 received Global Igniter for Youth Empowerment Award from Ushers New Look, a registered charitable organization in the USA. In 2017, Michelle was awarded finalist in the Telstra Business Women Asia category for her achievements in her work with Kids for Kids to challenge the status quo and making a real difference. She is also an Ashoka Fellow since 2019. So welcome, Michelle. Thank you for joining us, even in your quarantine. Finally, last but not least, Miss Gulnar Vaswani. Gulnar is a talent strategist, board advisor, executive coach to CEOs, and she draws on a 20-year career across a wide range of industries and geographies. She's passionate about helping leaders understand and embrace inclusiveness, cross-cultural dynamics, and diversity. She enables them to gain a deeper self-awareness, to actively embrace change, and to recognize and harness differences. Her work is shaped by a powerful blend of natural curiosity, business acumen, in-depth research, and extensive experience. She's worked with some of the largest Fortune 500 companies such as Facebook, Pfizer, Morgan Stanley, Linklaters, Accenture, Janssen, and more, and is an active member of the Young Presidents Organization, where she is a highly rated resource. She is often called upon by clients to share cross-cultural expertise and insights into how to leverage the power of difference. Her work is underpinned by a belief that better leaders will shape a better society and business. She is driven by a desire to optimize leadership outcomes and impact, whether through better productivity and effectiveness of people, developing a stronger employer brand to attract the right talent, driving innovation through inclusion, creating enhanced employee engagement and commitment, or enabling high potentials to accelerate their growth. She's also deeply committed to the advancement of women and other underrepresented group leaders as well, bridging the gap between cultures, gender, and generations. Gulnar recently received the Diversity List 2020 award from the Zubin Foundation and Spencer Stewart, and serves as a thought leader and spokesperson on the women for the Women on Boards, Women of Influence, and Women's Foundation in Hong Kong. She also sits on the Kravis Leadership Institute Advisory Board at Claremont McKenna College and is a trustee of Pitzer College. So welcome, Gulnar. It sounds mad. I know, I would be scared if I were you entrepreneurs, but you know what? Strut your stuff. You guys will have what it takes. And in just a few short years, I'm sure you'll be right where these judges are. So I can't wait for that. Let me run you quickly through the format just before we have our first entrepreneur come up. Each finalist is going to have 5 minutes to present their idea before answering questions from our panel of judges. I'll determine the time for that one, and I'll let you guys know when we will have one question left. When there's 1 minute left in their presentation, I'm going to give a little wave. I might do a little bit of a dance, but I'm going to try to keep your eye on me, because I'm going to be just giving you a little bit of a signal. And then once the 5 minutes are complete, I'm just going to put my hand up as a sort of stop signal, give you an opportunity to finish off your sentences and your idea, and then I'm going to just politely butt in if you're not done at that point in time. Now, judges, just while we switch over between our participants, that's going to be when you have an opportunity to go back to your scoring sheets, change anything that you need to change, input any numbers at that point in time too. And audience will be putting up a brief poll, because there is also going to be an audience favorite at the end of the day as well, who Pavan will announce too. Now, I'm stoked to be here. I know you're revving to go. It's been a long introduction, but I can't wait to see what our entrepreneurs have to show us today. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce our first entrepreneur, Caitlin. Apologies, folks. She seems to be having a couple of technical difficulties. There we go. Up and running. Hi, Caitlin. Whenever you're ready.
Should I share my screen now?
Please do.
Hi everyone, I'm so glad to be here. My name is Caitlin and I'll be pitching my business idea, Makan Impact. One of the things that we are noticing in Indonesia is the story of someone like X. They are definitely someone privileged. They're able to shop for groceries every single week, but also buy additional groceries throughout the week, order food, go out to restaurants, and organize large, lavish dinner parties. All this consumption leads to a lot of waste. On the other hand, we have 24 million Indonesians who are unable to meet the minimum requirement of daily calorie intake. This paradox is very noticeable in the Indonesian society, and this issue is what motivated me to be here today. What we are seeing is that we have up to 24 million tons of food waste annually, ending up in landfills, which creates many negative impacts on the environment, such as energy loss and a lot of money being wasted. My name is Caitlin. I'm going into my senior year, and one of my passions is food and beverage. I grew up in a family that loves food in general. Food is a sign of love in my home country. This is also why I'm also concerned about the exacerbating food problem we have in my country. I also felt, and research has validated this, that there are changes in users' behavior right now. We are seeing more attention into this problem, especially after COVID, when everyone is reconsidering their priorities in life. We also see this from the perspectives of the users. So when I've conducted my primary and secondary research, I organized it in a value proposition canvas that can be seen here. From this, I see that people do want to waste less food and that they do want to make more conscious choices. The solution that I came up with is definitely matching the pains and benefits that were mentioned here by the users. So this is Makan Impact, and I'd really like to share the story behind the name. Since the app will be mainly targeting the Indonesian market, we wanted to keep some of our Indonesian roots in the name. So Makan means food in Indonesian, but the name is also transferable to English, and it is a play on the words make an impact. So what are the features of the app and what makes it unique? So we currently do not have a prototype as this is still a very fresh idea, but these are the main features that will make up our app. Although this will not be the only food waste tracker out there, we will have food expiry notifications. It will be in English and Indonesian. We will have something that no other food waste apps have, which is connection to food banks, and we are creating a system to motivate users to waste less food. Um, the less food users waste, the more points they will get, which can be transferable into vouchers for them to redeem. And we will also be providing recipes for them to reinvent leftover food. So how are we going to make a profit? We plan on using a freemium model and partnerships in order to promote our business from universities to banks to NGOs and hopefully the government. Through benchmarking, we found that the prices in the previous slide were the most suitable with still competitive pricing. We will be our own business. However, these partnerships will help us with the voucher aspect of our app and also introducing our platform to a wider audience. In order to gain traction for our app, we will employ a variety of techniques from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, influencers, word of mouth in order to target our two main targets groups of users, which is Facebook moms or young moms and the younger generation, such as Gen Z. We're going to gradually work on the app for the next 30, 60, and 90 days. And of course, with your input today, it will be so amazing in implementing our business. And hopefully, we'll be able to reach our desired impact, which is to raise awareness to make the Indonesian population be more aware, eventually reduce the impact on the environment, change the behavior of the Indonesian market since we want our impact to be a long-term impact. And also, if we reach our target of 300 to 500 users within the first 12 months, we would be able to save up 2.5 tons of carbon dioxide released in the environment. Hopefully, the negative impacts of food waste will be reduced through Makan Impact. This idea is still very fresh, but hopefully from this, we are able to improve our research and development. Thank you so much, and I'm here for your questions.
Fantastic. Thank you, Caitlin. That's awesome. You've managed to stay well within the time limit as well. So I applaud you for that at the same point in time, getting so much information across. Judges, if you'll help me a little bit as we go through, I'll start off with Marcelo, but from now, do you mind popping the little hand up so that I can facilitate a little bit better? That'd be awesome. Marcelo, let's start with you. Thank you.
Yeah, Caitlin, congratulations for your initiative and all you are doing for the world. I super appreciate your presentation. One of the things that typically are in the middle of these kind of solutions is the logistics part. I mean, how are you going to, what are your thoughts about the transportation? Because when you talk about 300, 500 kilos, it's not a big deal, but hopefully you will scale up. So I would like to know if you have started conversations in terms of logistics. Thank you so much, Caitlin.
So since we're still in the very beginning process of building this business, we unfortunately haven't thought of the logistics or transportation. But we do feel that that part will have like the partnerships that we have with like connection to food banks and also like other bigger businesses. I feel like if we do end up collaborating with them, the transportation part and hopefully the logistics part will come easier for us as well.
Super, thank you.
Thanks, Marcelo. Michelle, after you, please.
Great presentation. Thank you, Caitlin. Could really see, your passion in the food F&B industry there. A lot of good research. So well done. One of the things, I guess, for a layperson, when you're presenting, when you talk about 23 tons, that kind of numbers and all that, maybe it'll be really maybe even more impactful when you present it, when you go, oh, 23 tons, it's like, I don't know, 5 football pitches or 8 planes on the tarmac or something that people can sort of go, oh, wow, because sometimes people don't understand what 23 tons could be. So try to, maybe simplify it that way. I really like your idea about getting coupons and all that, but maybe explore looking about gamifying some of these, where you have between different groups of friends or social groups, or could be, I don't know, corporate, whatever, but sometimes when you have a little bit of competition amongst groups, that could be fun too, to build that traction. And another suggestion, I guess, is how could you maybe incorporate the donation part, in addition to them redeeming coupons for themselves to use, whether they could redeem something that they could pass on again, so yeah, that's some suggestions there. But overall, excellent. So keep going.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Sophia.
Hi. Okay, can you hear me? Yes. Great. So Caitlin, I think I really loved your presentation. I think you've really gone deeply into the problem. You can see how much you've explored it from different areas, which is really great. The one point of feedback that I would have, I think, is to slow down a little bit when you're introducing your solution. So I think if you start out by saying very clearly, and so my idea to solve this is to create an app with a food waste tracker. And you can sort of pause, everyone can understand that, right? And let that sink in and be like, oh, that's a really interesting idea. It also could help if you don't need to have a prototype or any screenshots, but if you could slow down a little bit and sort of zoom in on the user experience of this app. So if you can say, for example, who is tracking the food? When will they input it into the app? How will they show? Do they take a photo or something like that? But going into sort of the details makes your product more tangible to the people who are listening. And so we can understand better. I think the one question I would have for you is, does this app rely on users self-reporting how much food that they are buying or throwing away or putting in those numbers themselves? And do you think there might be any challenges in this?
Yes, it's self-reporting, and one of the biggest challenges that we had is how to keep users motivated to keep using our food waste app tracker, and that is why we started to employ the voucher and point system, but we're also creating a system where users can add their friends and family. And so if one day they were tired or didn't want to do it, someone else from that household can also do it for them. And so that is what we're thinking right now.
Fantastic. And last one, Gulnar, after you.
Hey, Caitlin. So I really liked how you said food is love in your family, and I can relate to that. What I learned from you is when you talked about the impact you want to make, you tied it to awareness, right? And I think ultimately you are looking to shift behaviors, right, of your market segment.
Yes.
And what I know and what I've learned from my work is that before you can shift a behavior, you need to shift a mindset, right? How do you propose to shift the mindset and perhaps sell the business case to people who you want them to change their behaviors? So that's one, and let's park the mindset and the behaviors to a side. And the other thing I'd like to explore with you is what other challenges do you anticipate in this shifting of behaviors or selling a different mindset to your target audience?
So for the first question, we see that there is a lot more openness in in the Indonesian society now. They want to be more conscious, and I feel like one of our ideas was to introduce our app and our goals to universities and schools, and starting to introduce our goals with the younger audience. And so it's easier to change their mindset when we start young. And I feel like right now, because of the openness, I feel like it'll be easier to sell our business. And one challenge I think is, again, because one of our cultures in Indonesia is to host these lavish parties and to send a lot of food because it's a sign of love. I feel like in the beginning it'll be kind of hard because it's already like rooted in the culture to purchase a lot of food to give to other people, and sometimes that could lead to over purchasing of food. So I feel like that would be a challenge, is to just change the culture as well.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you.
All right, we're just about out of time for this question section, folks. So audience, we're going to pop a little poll up on the screen for you. Judges, if I can direct you to your scoring sheets, that'd be awesome. You can put that in. And Caitlin, I have one more question for you. You mentioned it was a freemium model. Do you mind giving me a couple of things that are different in the premium model that I would get versus the freemium model?
So the basic model, you get the recipes, like the basic recipes. You also get a list, so you can put like your groceries, and you can also compare how much food you consume versus how much you waste. However, for the premium model, we'll have like this barcode scanner, which when we benchmarked at other apps, we saw that the other food waste tracking apps had this barcode scanner for when they shop their groceries. They will also get more detailed recipes. They also get the connection to food banks, as well as for the basic one, they do get points for how much food they waste, but oh, sorry, I think I cut out. Where did I stop?
The barcodes and basic points for food waste, I believe.
Oh yeah, so the basic for the freemium model, you get like a more detailed like recipe list. You also get the barcode scanner, which we benchmark and other apps had, and also for the basic one, you get to collect the points, but if you want to transfer it into vouchers, you'll have to pay for the freemium model.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. Well, thank you, Caitlin. Really enjoyed that presentation. And that's a wonderful way to kick us off, actually. I think that was a great one to start with. So thank you. I really appreciate that. Judges, though, without further ado, and everyone else, I'd love to introduce you to our next entrepreneur candidate at this particular point. His name is Benjamin, and he'll be able to tell you a bit more about his business. But I believe we have a little video to be able to show just before he tells you anything about that. And that's okay if it's not working. No worries. Benjamin, we're going to go ahead. Please introduce yourself, share your screen, let us know what you're all about, mate. I know you've got a really interesting one to tell us about today.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. Hi, judges. I'm Benjamin Cheng. Before I begin, if you wouldn't mind, could you please scan scan the QR code where you can take a look at my website while I present. So the clothing industry has detrimental effects on the environment. Today, most clothing produced is by fast fashion companies. Fast fashion describes these brands perfectly. Their products wear out fast. However, with the low prices, many consumers purchase from these stores. The poor quality leads to them breaking within months, resulting in 87% of the total fiber input used in clothes production being incinerated or sent to landfills. It doesn't stop there. 10% of carbon emission output is from the clothing industry. 20% of industrial water pollution is from the production of textiles used in clothes. Finally, clothes production holds second place in global water consumption. Our solution is simple. Stop purchasing new clothes. At Stans Archives, we aim to promote sustainable fashion practices by encouraging more individuals to buy thrift clothing. By thrifting, you can reduce the high production of clothes and all the environmental effects that come with it. We have pledged to donate a percentage of our income from sales of our used products to charities that can aid our society and the environment. Although we have competitors, we believe we offer things they do not. Firstly, we have a website. Many of our competitors sell through Instagram. Not only is it less professional, but also more difficult to access. For example, if a parent is looking for a present for their child, it is unlikely they would purchase from our competitors as they might not be familiar with those channels. However, these problems are not present using our website. With a quick Google search and the click of a button, purchasing with us is easy. Secondly, we accept donations. Many of our competitors only source for their clothing, letting many individuals throw away clothes that are still in good condition. By accepting donations, we can increase the supply of our clothes and reduce the number of clothes that are incinerated or sent to landfills. Lastly, with every order, we add a card with information to educate our consumers on the benefits of purchasing thrift clothing. On our website, we share our mission and intention for our business. When you click on items, we display the details like condition, size, and brand. You can use the contact page to reach out to us and donate your clothing for a commission. These are some of our products. We recently sold a polo bear sweater for $45 and a pair of Dickies 874s for $35. The first step of our process is to source clothes through donations and other thrift stores. Second, we inspect the garments for signs of wear and get as much information about them as possible. After inspection, we determine whether we sell the clothes or donate them to those in need. Finally, we list our products on our website. For target age group, we're targeting about 13 to 25-year-olds, most of which are students residing in Singapore. Our buyers might appreciate fashion and or be motivated by the benefits of thrifting. Sometimes, some of our customers might purchase from us looking for clothes that are no longer in production. And with every piece donated, we pay a commission of 5% to the donor, and 10% of the original price goes towards our environment fund. Since the first few sales of thrifting so far, I have not needed to pay any commission, so I've donated about 20% of my sales to the Australian Nature Conservancy. The remaining money then covers our costs and its profit. For our source clothing, the process is the same. However, there is no commission paid. And lastly, for shoes, there is neither any commission paid nor money added to our environment fund. Here are some testimonials from our recent customers. For example, a customer, Fran, said that the pants she bought were exactly as described and that she'd definitely buy our products again. We plan to set up social media accounts like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to market our products and get traffic to our website. Initially, we are aiming at consumers in Singapore. However, eventually, we plan to go global as well. In the future, we are planning to partner with our competitors. By partnering with them, we will increase our supply of clothing, and in doing so, will not have to rely for a single rely on a single source for clothes. This could increase our customer base and credibility, as we plan to sell these clothes in our partners' names. We plan to become a one-stop shop, selling clothing from multiple vintage stores. If you wish to donate clothes to Stan's Archives, you can scan this QR code and send us the details of your clothing. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to ask me any questions.
Well done, Benjamin. Really cool. I'd love to know where Stan's archives have come from, if you'd like to kick us off, because I'm intrigued by the name when your name's Benjamin.
So
kick us off with that.
Yeah, so I came up with the name because my grandfather's name is Stan, so I thought it would be a nice tribute towards him.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Thanks, mate. Sophia, after you, kick us off.
Hi, Ben. So that was a really great presentation. You presented it confidently. I think you gave just the key information that we needed to hear. And from beginning to end, it was very coherent. So we had no problems understanding where you're going with it, which is great. I also love that you had a QR code at the end to ask us to donate. Because especially I'm usually based in Singapore, I definitely would donate. And so that sort of proves your point that people are willing to donate. So that's great. My question for you would be about managing your stock. So there are reasons that people don't usually put all their thrift items on websites, which is that they usually only have one of each piece, right? And once that item is bought, then they have to sort of remove it. And it becomes difficult sometimes to keep your website updated, especially if you start trying to partner with other thrift stores, then you'll have to manage stock that you might not currently hold as well. So are there any ways that you've thought more about managing your stock, or how you think you can make this work as you scale?
So far, I haven't really thought about the scaling yet. So we're dealing with about 50 pieces of clothing, and at this time, it's quite manageable for me to just do everything. And I guess as I grow, I'll have to think about what I can do to scale.
Okay, fair enough. Absolutely. Gulnar.
Benjamin, I really enjoyed that. And I learned so much myself about, when you talked about the commission structure and how you've not had to pay it. So I have a technical question and I have more of a mindset question. I guess the technical question is to expand a little bit more on your revenue model. And the more mindset question is, having lived in so many parts of the world, I think people's cultural orientation to used versus new is varies across the world. And you said, your solution is stop purchasing new clothes. How do you sell that to someone, right? How do you sell that to someone that I wasn't raised in a family that used versus new. I don't know if I want to stop purchasing new clothes. How would you convince me to?
So that's why our target age group is more for younger people, because from what I found and based on some research I've done, thrifting is very big in my generation, and there aren't many thrift stores in Singapore. So we thought that we could get into the market because there are many vintage stores, as I mentioned earlier, but they don't accept donations. So we thought that if by doing so, we can sort of enter a new field where currently there are mostly only places in the US that have big thrift stores, and we're hoping to start one in Singapore as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
And what about, Kent, do you mind if we go back to the first question that Gulnar had with the expansion on your revenue model, I believe, mate? Can you go back to that slide? Maybe give us a bit of a rundown with that again.
Sorry, so I cut out for a second.
Sorry, no worries. Do you mind expanding a bit on your revenue model, perhaps running us through it again just before we go to Michelle?
Oh, so we have a commission of about 5% just to incentivize donors, and I've asked around and I've done some research, and by giving a portion of the money away and covering all the logistics for donators, it'll make it easier for them and make them, I guess, have a more of an incentive to donate their clothes. And 10% goes to our environment fund, which is a fund that we donate towards charities. So for the clothing we sold now, we donated 20% to the Australian Conservancy, which is which protects land and helps fight climate change. So that's in the middle there. And the rest of the money we use to cover costs. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Michelle, after you.
Thank you, Benjamin. I have a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old, and you're right. I mean, they are into thrifting. So definitely it's something, your generation, it's a huge thing. Now, can I ask your payment options that you're right now from your customers? How are you collecting money?
We are on a website, so you can pay through credit card. Yeah, just credit card.
So is it oh, okay, so you set up a shop front, so it's probably Stripe or something like that, right?
It's Shopify payments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And who is, you keep referring to we. So I guess one of the things with the scaling up, and like you said, you've right now you'll be able to manage it, but in order to scale up, who do you have at the moment, or how are you recruiting people that can work on the different parts of the business, from whether it's back-end operations or the marketing, if the intention is to grow it? So who's the we at the moment?
So I've got some friends who have joined me because I'm going to be using this sort of as an IB thing as well, for CAS. And so I have some friends joining me, as this is sort of a service where they will help me out with certain things like marketing, some logistics, and just sourcing clothing as well.
So you already have people doing that?
I have some friends doing that, and I have a few more friends who we're planning on future projects, and they're helping me out with those as well, which is, yeah.
Okay. One sort of, I guess more, it's like a suggestion. So it's great that you've identified donating to a cause in Australia. I would suggest, if you are looking at this as different, perhaps chapters of Stan's archive. So let's say Singapore is one, next could be neighboring, I don't know, Indonesia or Malaysia or something, that maybe you might want to find causes that are in that, country, just so that it's sort of a nice circular, like giving back and to help your own community. So maybe consider that as well. But I think it's a great start. I mean, you found something that you're passionate about, that's great, but that could be something, or even have a few causes that the people that buy could click,
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that's all for me.
Thank you, Michelle. Audience, we're going to pop a poll up for you, but Marcelo, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask just while the audience is doing this, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, Benjamin, thanks so much. I think it was a very clear presentation. I like the cadence and everything else, so congratulations. I have a couple of comments, perhaps, for your consideration and your comments. First of all, you mentioned that the barrier to entrance to other competitors is they don't have a website. I'm not sure if that's enough of a barrier. I think that's something that, I will not say it's piece of cake, but many people can do that. So I think you should have another ways to avoid competitors to get into your cake. The other thing is recycling. I don't know if you have considered at all the possibility of get the used clothes and do some kind of recycling. So that's, I believe, is something that is very trendy now. And finally, I think you already mentioned your target buyer person and the specific age group, but I'm working on a startup for elderly and from old people. And as you know, aging is a huge trend in the world right now. And I think one of the pieces that we have considered in that segment is also thrift clothes. And I don't know if you have thoughts about expanding to other segments of age, specifically elderly. Thank you so much. Good job, Benjamin. So I mentioned the website, the recycling, and the old guys. I don't know if you have any comments on that, but thank you.
Yeah, so we're actually going to be creating I have a few friends. These are the future projects I'm working on. So I have a few friends I'm working on to create our own lines of clothing. So it might be people of an older age might be more incentivized to purchase those rather than thrift clothing. And we do sell some new clothes and some specifically shoes, I guess. So currently all the shoes we're selling, they're all new. And for the website, I think it's maybe people who are more new to thrifting and parents who might be trying to thrift for their kids might find it easier to be purchasing from a website rather than having to look around on Instagram and having to message the seller and trying to figure everything out. Whereas with a website, everything is just there and it's available 24/7 rather than a seller who might only be online for about an hour a day.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Michelle, if you've got something really quick, we'll go to you. But if not, we're going to push on. I'll let you go first.
Okay. So Benjamin, you said about maybe releasing new clothes line. I would caution you on that because in terms of if you have a problem and a solution, to try and keep yourself focused, rather than be all things to all people. So just a caution there to consider.
Some great words of advice from our panel actually right now, Benjamin. I hope that if you ever need the help, please feel free to ask us. Maybe we'll be able to put you in touch with them at some point. Who knows? But there's a lot of ideas floating about, which is amazing to hear. But thank you so much for your presentation. Really appreciate it at the same time. Also, liked hearing that it was part of your grandfather as well. I like that sort of tribute too. So well done. And everyone, attendees, I'd love to introduce you to our next participant, our next entrepreneur. It's actually a team this time, I believe. It is Tom and Russell. We're going to give the video another go at this point in time and see whether that plays this time. But if not, then I'll let them introduce themselves. Let's see what we have.
Hi.
Hello, beautiful people. I'm Tom. I will be turning 18 this November, and I'm from Malaysia. I'm a part of Global, where we sell clothes with designs people would want to wear. It has been a blast to create some of the concept designs, and I look forward to taking Global globally. Truthfully, the prize money was what enticed us, but I also think that this bullpen would help improve my presentation skills.
All right. And so we have Tom and Russell. Boys, please introduce yourselves and let's see your slides. Let's get going.
Hi, can you hear me all right?
We can.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay.
All right, can I start?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, good morning, judges. We are excited to propose our company concept, Global Clothing. My name is Russell. I'm the leader of Global Clothing, and this is my teammate, Tom.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tom, as you can see from the video I made. I'm the creative director of Global Clothing.
Right, so on to our vision. We want to inspire individuals to envision a world where fashion and sustainability flourish. So the statistics shows that 27% of Malaysians have thrown away clothing after wearing it just once, while the average American has been estimated to throw away around 37 kg of clothes every year, and it takes 2,700 liters of water to make one shirt. And global clothing, we are choosing streetwear as our fashion. Streetwear's problem with streetwear got a problem with sustainability. So when graphic t-shirts, oversized hoodies, bold sneakers, and mundane accessories have become the only standard for a person to launch a fashion line from their bedroom, one no longer needs to follow the traditional trajectory of attending an established fashion school. Instead, it's the cultural relevance that defines the value of streetwear over the intrinsic value of its materials and labor. As a result, rapid business growth has turned streetwear into fast fashion. So our solution to this problem is to put an end to fast fashion and promote slow fashion in Malaysia. So this is where we stand out from our competitors. To do this, we are going to be using unused clothes. We are going to break that down, and then we are going to make new clothes out of it. We'll be focusing on t-shirts now, but later we can go to hoodies, jeans, denim. Right. Then finally, we are going to put our designs on the shirts and sell it. By doing this, we'll reduce carbon footprints, textile waste, pollution, and so on. All right, designs.
So on to the designs. Our first drop will be solely about what we call energy art. We found some inspirations on Pinterest, and I myself have made the concept designs for the t-shirts, as you can see right here. It will consist of mainly fairly abstract shapes and very saturated colors. This relates to global in a way because according to the dictionary, it means that it encompasses a whole of a particular topic. And we want our first drop to be solely about energy art. And as far as I can see, nobody makes the t-shirts with designs like this. We have searched far and wide. You're gonna have to take our word for it, but we did. And we haven't found a single one. And I'm also really glad that Russell has used me in the right way in this case, because whenever I'm not working on global, I practice digital painting pretty much every day at this point.
All right, so the roll-up plan. So for the first 3 months, step one, we're gonna sell 100 t-shirts, 5 designs sells 20 each, and we will sell for 100 ringgit each. And step two, pay for our website. And we need to buy heat transfer papers, which is $15. And then for the next 3 months, we'll be producing and selling 150 t-shirts and 50 hoodies. And then another 3 months later, we'll probably buy our own heat press machine and printer.
Now I'll be talking about the marketing strategies of Global. Our main target market will be focusing on teenagers, 13 to 19, according to the official age for teenagers. And I think young people like teenagers would want to be more stylish, would want to wear stylish clothes and become more sustainable. And also, these are the groups of people that care about clothing the most. I mean, just go to the shopping malls, go to school, and you can see them wearing pretty expensive, even more expensive than what we're going to sell type of clothes. And we are planning to advertise our brand via Facebook ads. It will be around 97. Well, it's going to be explained later. And of course, posting more regularly on our social media pages, Instagram pages, YouTube. And advertising is powerful because we can be able to target specific demographics, like we want to target teenagers. And now for the sustainability and price chart. This visual here just basically shows our different competitors based on their sustainability and costliness of their products. And for Global, we want to put Global at a place where we sell at a pretty expensive price, and also sustainable at the same time by sourcing materials of the highest quality and making it sustainable at the same time.
Yeah, and the reason why we we sell it expensive is because how we make the shirts by breaking it down, and then we're making it into a brand new clothing. And another thing is to prevent overconsumption of clothes, right? So next is the
boys, I'm
revenue
going to pause you
model.
there for a second. Thank you. You've gone just over your time now, so we're going to stop there first. If the judges leave this slide up for the moment, if the judges have any questions on it, I'm sure they'll ask you at this point in time. But I want to start off with this, if it's okay. Can you just start me off? You said that your value proposition was you taking unused clothes and then breaking that and making them new. Isn't that just making new clothes new again? Or have I misunderstood that?
Making old clothes new again, if that's what you're saying. Yeah. People will donate to our partner. We are working with a partner, and they will be getting clothes from malls, from any places, and they will be throwing their unused clothes there, and then they will be breaking down those clothes, that old clothes, into a new clothing.
Yeah. Okay. So unused meaning they're not using them anymore. Okay, I totally understand.
Yeah. Sorry.
No worries. That's my bad. I apologize. Judges, would anyone like to kick us off, or would you like to hear the revenue model first? Marcelo, I'll go to you.
I would like to hear about the revenue model because it's very important. But I can see here that you have a margin of 75% at the very low end of the slide. So I'm okay with that. I was thinking, guys, first of all, Tom and Russell, thank you so much. Congratulations for your presentation. Good job. You are entering manufacturing here. So you are talking about the different animals that we have heard so far, which is interesting. I think that you are breaking down old clothes, used clothes. You are doing a lot of hitting. You have some transportation here. You have printers. I think my recommendation, I don't know if you have any ideas on that, is going to have the full cycle, the life cycle analysis, because one thing is to say we are reducing CO2 emissions. I think, do you have any good numbers about that you can prove? Because one of the questions regarding sustainability I will have is you are involving a lot of manufacturing here. So do you have numbers for that? Could be a question in the future. Are you really sure you are saving CO2 emissions?
If I may rephrase the question for you boys just slightly here for a second, how do you plan to keep your CO2 emissions lower than the people who are already making clothes, since you're technically in manufacturing as well?
Tom, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, actually, the source of the t-shirt, we're basically, aside from breaking down plastic, we're going to be purchasing some sustainable blank t-shirts from the website that you can see here on this slide. It's called ascolor.com, and they sell pretty high quality, and it's what most of the top of the line brands use, top of the line clothing companies that also sell really expensive, and yeah, they buy from companies like these. But aside from that, we are also going to use the heat press paper printing machine from our school. And yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your answer.
Thank you, Tom. Michelle.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. I mean, really excited how you guys are so excited about sustainability and fashion here. When you talked about you've searched far and wide, you couldn't find any other company. When I did go onto Instagram and typed in the same sort of letters, it popped up another global clothing, and it wasn't you guys. So I don't know whether you've looked into that. It's based in Philippines, and they're also designing t-shirts, streetwear kind, and selling that. So I'm a little bit confused where the name came from, because, you know, I guess then as a customer, I might accidentally go and buy from them if they've already got Global Clothing as their name. Have you looked into that?
Hold on, Liz, could I ask, do the logo, and is it exactly the same as us?
It's not the logo, but if, you know, at the end of the day, it is GLBL Clothing, GLBL Clothing, Global Clothing Company. So I would just click on that. And they are also doing t-shirts, and they're also doing transfers on t-shirts. So, so initially before today, you know, I did a bit of sort of, you know, finding out about the different projects, and it took me a while to figure out then that was not you guys. It took me a while. You know, I really had to click on some of the things, look, and oh, no, there's no Russell there. So, so I just want to raise that to you, that have a look at that, because if they're already running it as a business and then you want to make yours global, then there's an issue there. You know, of course, names, everyone, you know, there is, people have similar names, but, you know, it's not, but it is a concern that you might want to look into. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's purely coincidental, the similarity in the names, but I think what's going to make us stand out is the designs of our t-shirts.
And sustainability and all of, because I was searching global last time, and it didn't pop out. There ain't no other global, but now there's apparently global from Philippines. I was pretty shocked to hear that, you know. So yeah, but I think we will be fine. I think.
We will be.
I applaud your enthusiasm, boys. I do. Gulnar, after you. So sorry, I believe you're on mute.
Thank you for that. I too applaud your hope and your enthusiasm, and thank you for your presentation. As a parent of two young boys, one of them who was really into street fashion and fast fashion, as you say, I completely agree. I recall that I think you said your target market is 13 to 19. So I'm very conscious that the actual client or the purchasing power is coming from the parent, right? And I also want to recap that the unused in your way of expression is they're used clothing that are no longer being used. And now you're hoping that they're donated. I'm wondering if you, so these 13 and 19-year-olds who are buying these extremely expensive clothing, or their parents are buying it for them, you're counting on those donations. Have you thought about the process, right? I wasn't very clear. The process of putting your designs and the machines you want to buy. Have you thought about the number of man hours, head count, that you need per t-shirt? And what the cost is going to be for that? How many people? What's your labor force going to be?
Okay, I think I can answer the sort of the process behind in putting the designs on the t-shirts. So basically, like I said, we're gonna be outsourcing either broken down materials from the clothes and recycling them. But I think the majority of our blank t-shirt source will be coming from ascolor.com. Like I said, they sell extremely high quality, top of the line t-shirts. And actually, we have a heat press machine in our school. So since we're pretty small right now, we actually don't have a prototype, but we're going to be making them soon. And I think we can get away with using the school's equipment, the heat press machine, the heat press paper. Yeah, we just need to spend money on buying the t-shirts with the money that we have from our first bullpen that we had in our school.
So are you actually making the t-shirts? You two,
Yeah.
the two of you are making the t-shirts yourself?
Yeah,
Right.
There's also a printer, an inkjet printer in the school. So I made the designs myself. And we're going to use the printer in school to print out, which will be free as well for now, for the time being. And using the heat press machine to paste the designs onto the t-shirts.
Right. So in our school, me and Tom, we got free periods, like 1 hour period. In 1 hour, we could probably print out like 5, 6 clothes, probably, or like 10 if we are doing it quite fast. So every week, probably we could print 10. Yeah. So it's not really that hard to heat press. And we got people who's helping us too. The teachers are helping us. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and just one more thing I want to add about, I think you just mentioned the labor costs, like the salaries. Honestly, like the 5 ringgit you see here, that's going to Russell. Honestly, I don't really care. This is gonna sound fake, but I don't really care about the money. I just want to help my best friend make this work, by doing the designs. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Sophia, I apologize, but we don't have time for your question at this point in time. We've already popped up the poll for the audience to check out. But boys, thank you for your, again, your enthusiasm is great. So is your hope, your faith that this is going to work. I think you combine that with a bit of hard work and it could potentially, as Michelle said, have a think about how you're going to maybe pivot or really position yourselves well as the primary global clothing brand, perhaps, in that sense, or maybe what you can do about that. But anyway, thank you for your presentation, boys. And just judges, as you go to your score sheets, we're going to put up the video of our last, but definitely not least, entrepreneur. Her name is Stefania, and we're going to get that video up for you right now. But thank you, Russell, and thank you, Tom. Lena, are we able to get the video of Stefania up, please? Perchance. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Stefania Sijasmandi. I am 15 years old and I live in Singapore. My organization is Act for Impact, and it is an environmental organization that strives to motivate and inspire fellow Singaporeans to help out our planet in small ways and eventually create a conscious society. I decided to compete in the 2022 Bullpen because I wanted to receive new insights on what I could do better, as well as inspiring people to join the Act for Impact community. And since we're just starting out, I want as many people to join. I'm looking forward to see what you guys have to say.
Fantastic. Looking forward to seeing what you have then. Stefania, feel free to introduce yourself and show us what you've been doing so far.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Okay, so hi, I'm Stefania Sijasmandi. I'm 15 years old and I'm living in Singapore. So I hope you enjoy my pitch and learn a little bit more about my organization, Act for Impact. So every time I opened the news channel, I saw terrible news about the environment. I felt that I can make a change, even if it's small, and I hope to inspire others to use the power inside of them to eventually form a healthier Mother Nature. We're an environmental organization that wishes to motivate fellow Singaporeans to take baby steps through innovative, sustainable activities to eventually create a conscious society. As we know, the list of environmental problems is only growing larger. Issues such as plastic pollution, waste disposal, global warming are increasingly harming our planet. Research shows that nearly 300 million tons of plastic are wasted and produced every year. This is a growing annual rate of 9%. Corporate companies are always looking for creative ways to contribute to society through their CSR, but often don't know how to curate and execute it. 94% of Gen Z now thinks that companies should address pressing social and environmental issues, and 85% of consumers have more than a positive image of a product or company when it supports a cause they care about. Not only do we want to help our planet, but we also want people to have fun here at Act for Impact. The goal of Act for Impact is to allow anyone to make a change internally and behaviorally by participating in our creative and educative activities. We want to make it easy for people to make a change, and Act for Impact will provide this for everyone. Though recently starting out in April 22, we have already hosted 2 activities, those being our plogging and our grab a bike event. As I hosted both events, I participated as well. I personally believe that it was a fun way to get outdoors and connect with new people as well as with nature. Together, we collected around 120 pieces of trash and left the location better than how we found it. We also discussed the ill effects of single-use plastics and how to avoid these products. We also biked around 3.8 kilometers while speaking on the issues of carbon emissions. Currently being planned is our new activity, Ecotainment Film Screening. We hope to teach the youth mainly about several environmental issues by utilizing the platforms of movies/entertainment. However, we have several more activities in plan currently. So our target audience is mainly anyone and everyone who wants to live more sustainably and cares about the environment, while mainly focusing on various schools and companies looking for sustainable activities. We currently have 3 ideas for our revenue stream. The first one being in-house activities where we charge a small registration fee of 2 to 5 Singapore dollars. These activities will be available to anyone who'd like to join. The second one is our partnerships with schools and corporate companies. And our final one is our ads, where we promote small businesses which are selling sustainable products or raising awareness for these issues. For corporate companies, we have 2 current plans that they can choose from. They could either go for the single activity plan or the 6-month program, which is a little bit cheaper. Overall, they'll be featured on our Instagram page, and we'll make sure to plan and document everything for them. So why would you want to participate? Well, anyone who participates will receive many benefits such as the one shown here. The more times you join our events, the more eco points you receive, and eventually you'll receive a prize, something sustainable such as a reusable water bottle or metal straws. We'll have various collaborations with different brands which can allow you to redeem your eco points. And at the end of each activity, you'll be sent an e-certificate. This is some of the content. This is some of the content that we wish to add to our upcoming website to create an easier point of contact for individuals and companies. How I'll use the prize money is that I'll invest into my business in these 3 ways. Mainly, we need to start up our website, which will be ready within the next 2 months, and manage reoccurring expenses. Reach us for any additional questions you may have later at our email, and be sure to follow our Instagram to stay updated on future advancements. Let's start saving our planet as a team, one activity at a time. Thank you.
Well done, Stefania. That was really well said. Very confidently done. Sophia, yeah, perfect. I was going to ask you to kick us off anyway. Lovely.
Okay, thank you, Stefania. That was a great presentation. I love how you presented everything in a way that was easy and clear for everyone to understand. I think the activities that you've done so far and are planning to do are great. And I think tapping into corporate events is a really good idea, especially when it comes to revenue. So I think my question, and it might be a little tricky, but I think it's important to think about in terms of revenue and in terms of the pricing that you put there. How did you decide on the pricing? So for example, for each activity or even like the $2 to $5 registration fee?
Well, we really want it to be a small fee. However, for some of our activities, such as the plogging event that we did, we need to have some materials such as the plastic bags and maybe some gloves for people to use. And I think that $2 to $5 is a reasonable price to participate. And some of our events will be free as well, because for example, the biking event, you don't really have to, unless you don't have a bike, which we wouldn't provide, but that's a free event. You're really only coming for the experience. So I think it's a pretty reasonable price for the materials and also for our time.
Okay, I would just add on really quickly that I think that it's reasonable to also charge a bit more money than just what the cost is for running these events. Because if you want it to be a longer term, more sustainable business or activity, then it would be useful also to build up sort of your own funds, right? In order to cover the expenses or costs that you might incur in organizing future events or in other things as well. So I think you have some idea of your costs when you talked about what are, the things that you would use the funds for. There was a slide somewhere there. But I think also in terms of your pricing, you can think about how can you actually start building that money from your revenue that's going to be coming in. So it's completely reasonable, I think, to mark up a bit more there. Just something for you to think about.
Great, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sophia. Really appreciate that. Judges, does anyone else have any questions or advice? Because I know that Stefania wanted some advice at the same point in time. So Gulnar.
Hey, Stefania, I really liked that. I really enjoyed listening to you. It was really clear. You were very clear on your problem and how you see it on TV. The solutions, I also particularly like the fact that you have fun in there, because I do think that the fun aspect is going to help with the influencing and the mindset shifting. You mentioned CSR, and I have a couple of, well, I have some experience in it, but normally your tagline when you ended your presentation, you said, let's start saving the planet as a team. So there's CSR for companies that are usually as part of their corporate governance, right? So in other words, it's something they have to do.
Yeah.
A really nice way for you and your team to think about is, how do I sell this to companies as something that's fun to do and encourages team building, employee engagement, and employee retention, right? A lot of companies are struggling with the fact, because have to do is a checkbox. But what I think I'm hearing from you is, let's do this as a team. So for you to kind of think of this, how does this become a team building exercise? How do I approach Ascend Now's management and say, let's do this as a team? Because teams who do things like this together towards a cause, there's a lot of research on how that helps that organization in terms of their effectiveness as well, their leadership effectiveness. So that's my suggestion. The other thing I heard you say in terms of, actually, you know what? I'm going to pause there. I'm going to let my other fellow judges take more time. That was my only suggestion. So CSR is a great idea, but also look at it from approaching companies as a potential team building exercise.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good point there. Thank you, Gulnaz. Marcelo.
Oh, but very quickly, Stefania, I think that you are doing a lovely job, and I really want to congratulate you. Fantastic. I building on top of the first judge, I think that with time, you want to put some more hard numbers, more hard data, just a suggestion, because especially you are not, I want to just repeat what was said. You are not going to charge cost just to save cost. You are adding some value here. So I think that I will encourage you to start thinking more about the financial aspects. But overall, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Always difficult to keep stuff like this running, particularly with the financial costs that sometimes go into it. But it could be quite an interesting one. I hope it continues. I mean, 2 events already is great. Michelle, mind if we go to you?
Yeah, Stefania, I mean, it was a great presentation, very clearly delivered, and I could see a lot of passion in there. So all around, very, very good, very clear. I would say, again, you know, how to build community and then traction with your initiative. It will require quite a lot of, you know, promoting and getting different communities, like you said, whether it's corporates, whether it's schools, school groups and all that, but a little bit of like people working in teams, but in their, you know, but just to have that kind of community. I think, so I put here how you're going to build community. And in terms of also, I would like you to reference, there's one in Hong Kong called Trail Watch. They do hiking, but I thought that was like hiking different trails, but I thought that was a very good website that you might want to have a look at. They have an app as something that at some point, to you know, Marcelo's point about how you can report numbers and things like that. Because
yeah, I agree with you that marketing will probably be our hardest struggle, because we do need to form a community, but we do currently have some sort of plan, and we're using a lot of social media platforms to try to gain this community. And in the future, we're also planning on using a lot of influencers, because I know in Singapore, there's a lot of them that would love to promote these events, because it also makes them look quite good if they're promoting a sustainable event.
Yeah.
But for me, my goal is to just allow people to bring their friends and family to these events, and for them to have a fun time with their family as well. It doesn't have to be with the rest of the group.
Yeah, and one more suggestion. I found actually in Singapore, there's this great platform called youthtopia.sg.
Yeah,
and
I'm actually part of it.
Oh, great. This is the one that's launched by the Singapore government, that one? Or is this the one with the bye-bye plastic one?
Yeah, the bye-bye plastic.
Okay, this is a different one. And yeah, it was launched by the Singapore government, and I'll send it later to the Ascend team. It's very good because it's got, they're always looking for content as well, and it's almost like a Bloomberg for youth. So let me send that to you when I find that link.
Great.
Awesome, thank you, judges, and thank you, Stefania. I really appreciate that presentation in general. In fact, I hate to cut off some of the ideas that are being bounced around here, but at this point in time, we're going to have to. So thank you for that, and we're just going to pop you back into the attendees for a moment. Judges, I'm going to put you on the spot here for a second. Just while we're gathering the final scores and making the calculations, I'd love to ask you each to offer maybe some wisdom, your own experience, a bit of advice or encouragement to our entrepreneurs here today, and anyone who's really planning to do it at this point in time. Really, it doesn't have to be that young. It can be anyone, well, I'd say as old as me, but I'll take that too. So Marcelo, may I go to you first if you've got any advice or encouragement or words of wisdom for us?
Well, I'm so happy to start. I'm in Brazil, so this is 8 a.m. in the morning here. So what an awesome way to start the weekend. Looking at these young entrepreneurs, I feel so energized, and I'm so happy to start my Saturday this way. That it's going to be a completely different experience for me. I want to thank everybody for the commitment of being here presenting. I love the content. I will reinforce some of the comments that were given during the presentations, and my first one will be the team. I mean, there is nothing like the people you work with. That will be my. In order to save time, if I need to pick one recommendation, will be people. Like Henry Ford said, you can take away anything from me, but leave me my people, and I will do everything again. So your teams, guys, make sure you have the best people. Spend time picking your coworkers, because that's the formula for success. Once again, thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Marcelo. Really appreciate that. Gulnar, I'd love to go to you next.
So I want to thank all the presenters and for helping me stretch my mind this Saturday morning. And I learned a lot. I think everyone's ideas were stimulating, engaging, well thought out. I guess my big recommendation in my entrepreneurial journey or working with senior leaders and entrepreneurs is try to always keep sight of your why, right? Why does this matter to you? And how does it land on your consumers, right? So always keep iterating that, because that will shift at every part of your life cycle, of your company, of your idea. Don't be afraid to shift gears, change. Things can change. You can pivot. And in your generation more, it's a non-linear trajectory, right? So don't be afraid to shift your thinking based on what you may have seen or heard today. Shift your target audience. For some of you said everyone's our audience. Narrow it. You can't be everything to everyone. But never ever lose track of why this matters. What is the fire? What is really inspiring you? Thank you. It was such an honor and pleasure to be part of this.
Thank you, Gulnar. I really appreciate that. That's really a cool sentiment too. Michelle, may I go to you, please?
Yeah, I'm echoing Marcelo because, you know, I'm quite jet lagged. I just landed from the US to Hong Kong. So, but now I'm really energized after hearing the 4 presentations. It also, I mean, with my work with Kids for Kids, I mean, I love it because when I see the young people and the hope and sort of their can do and, you know, that passion, it really gives me a lot of hope of what they can achieve to really make, you know, the world a better place. Great ideas, all of them. I mean, if we could award all of them, I would, because I think they were all amazing. Again, echoing, you know, I think you all did a lot of research for the problem, but I think as your concept evolves to the next stage and you get more user kind of input from whether it's your customers, whether it's the operations part and all that, you need to then make sure that you're mindful of making some tweaks and so that it becomes a better product and not to just be stubbornly sort of go, oh, this is my original idea. So make sure that you always in tune with that. It's great to have the idea, but when you go to implementation and to make it sustainable or even scalable, it is no different from any startup. And that is the biggest challenge. Ideas, a lot of people have. Implementation is the trickiest bit.
Absolutely, well said. And finally, Sophia.
Sure. So again, echoing what all the other judges have said, I've been very impressed during this bullpen. Really enjoyed being a part of it. Thank you for the invitation and for organizing this, and also for just all the enthusiasm that our participants brought to it. It was great to see, and I hope you guys also go and tell all your friends about being involved in this and get them excited about, you know, doing your own projects or working on your own ideas. So I guess just very generally, I have 3 sort of things that I would like to leave with all of you. The first is to get obsessed with the problem. So I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I want to run my own business. Like, what is something that I can do? But another way to think about that is what's something in the world that I think needs to be changed, or something in the world that doesn't seem right to me, or something in the world that doesn't really exist. And if you're obsessed with the problem, it doesn't really matter what your first draft is, what your first presentation is, what the first thing you try, if it fails, it doesn't matter. Because if you know that there's a problem you really care about, then you just keep working at it until you find some little corner of it that you solve somewhat, and then it goes and grows from there. So never think that you have to have it all figured out at the beginning. And that relates also to my second point, which is that in entrepreneurship, more than anything else, I feel you really learn by doing. So when you start out, nobody knows exactly how they're going to do everything, right? But you start out by working on one little piece of the problem, and then you realize, oh, you know, I need to somehow do some financial reporting. So you then go and Google how to do a, basic profit calculation or things like that. And especially in this day and age, there's so much information available online. So definitely, like, you learn as you go. Never feel like I don't know how to do this. Always feel like I have the ability to learn. And if I don't know, I'll figure it out, or I'll find someone who knows and ask them for advice. And I think the third thing is, as we go on our entrepreneurial journeys, I think everyone needs to learn how to zoom in and zoom out at different times. So if you develop your ability to sort of focus in on the details when you really have to execute on one thing and work out this one small piece at a time, but also be able to think long-term, to have that product vision. I think that's what really sets people apart. If they're able to see, okay, I'm working on this one seed, but in the best case scenario, in the long term, in 5 years, it could grow and become, this or that. And I think having that product vision is really what sets people apart. So try to develop that. And again, I would just encourage you, wherever you're at, keep going. You're moving in the right direction.
Thank you, Sophia. I really appreciate that. Awesome. Now, I know you guys have heard enough from me. You don't want to hear from me anymore, so I'm going to invite Pavan to come to the fore and announce our winner. We have the totals from the judges on, and we also have an audience winner to announce as well. So there's 2. Pavan, after you.
Thank you so much, Ethan. Just before that, I do want to say, once again, judges, you're all in different places. It's different times in the day. Attendees, thank you so much for being here, for supporting these student entrepreneurs. They've put in a lot of work, and it really makes me happy when I see these students presenting, because I'm sure that irrespective of who the winner is here today, each of these students are going to go ahead with their ideas anyway. Like, this isn't going to make them falter. It isn't going to make them question what they're doing. And I think that that is really, really important when it comes to entrepreneurship. Is, okay, how do you handle failures? How do you handle rejection? How do you persevere through the times that are tough? So I think it's been an amazing experience. And I'm going to start off by announcing who is our People's Choice Award. So this is based on the polling that we did, the audience, who felt the entrepreneur that had the most impact in terms of their idea. And the winner of the People's Choice Award is Stefania. I think a lot of people did relate to the fact that, small actions add up. So congratulations. I think it's an amazing job that you've done there. Now, coming to the winner of the bullpen, the One Earth Bullpen, I would like to bring on Benjamin with his idea Stands Archive as the winner of the 2022 One Earth Bullpen. Amazing work, Ben. We're just going to bring you on for a second so you can say a few words, but amazing, amazing work. And I think you're going to be selling a lot more from now on.
Hi, thank you so much.
Yeah, just a little story that I thought I'd share here. Ben actually wanted to start this program because he saw a couple of his friends pitch in a previous bullpen of ours about 8 months ago. And he saw that and he was like, man, you know what? I want to try that too. I want to do this myself. And he's come a really long way to then winning his own bullpen. Ben, can we see you on camera?
Oh, I'm not in, I'm sort of in a hotel lobby right now. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for hopping back on, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
To all our participants, amazing job. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep learning. And yes, thank you, everyone. Back to you, Ethan.
And with that, that's all we have tonight, folks. Thank you. Good morning, good night, good evening, and have a wonderful day ahead wherever you are around the world. Judges, special thank you to you. And Ariana, I know you've been behind the scenes. Folks, Ariana's organized a lot of this, so a big thank you to Ariana as well, please. But thank you for a wonderful event, and hope to see you all soon. Thank you all.
Ciao. Thank you, guys.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Have a great day.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
you.
Hi, Karen. Ben ended up winning. Congratulations to him.
I think they're traveling all
in the
together.
hotel lobby as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I gave her permission to speak, but
yeah, I think she's still in the hotel lobby too.
No, amazing work. Stan's Archives is awesome, and I love the idea. I love the positioning.